Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you've ever felt like your forehead is literally trapped in a vice, or if you find yourself gasping for air the absolute second your head hits the pillow, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're building the ultimate sinus pressure survival toolkit to conquer that agonizing facial tightness and get you breathing clearly again.
So you might be wondering, why does lying down suddenly make your face feel like a giant overinflated balloon? Well, let's dive into this extremely common and super painful problem where your own sleep position is actually working against you. See, during the day, gravity quietly helps mucus drain right out of your sinus cavities. But the very moment you lie completely flat, that helpful drainage just stops. The mucus pools up in your nasal passages, the pressure builds immensely, and your airflow gets completely restricted.
To fix this whole shebang, we're building a comprehensive toolkit. We're going to cover the root of the pressure, daytime relief and hydration, aromatherapy and essential oils, mastering the neti pot, winning the nighttime battle, and finally, when to see a doctor.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the root of the pressure. Before we fix the plumbing, we really need to know what's actually blocking the pipes, right? Check this out, because it's a real eye-opener. A massive 90% of all sinus infections are actually viral. That means they're caused by tiny microorganisms, kind of like the common cold, just invading your cells. The big takeaway for us? Antibiotics usually won't do a thing to help you, since only about 10% of cases are actually bacterial.
So how can you tell which one you're dealing with? It basically comes down to the timeline. Viral cases typically resolve on their own in about 3 to 5 days just with some good old-fashioned rest. Bacterial cases, on the other hand, those are the ones that stubbornly drag on past 10 days, and they often pull this really nasty trick where they seem to get better for a second and then suddenly worsen again. Keep that in mind as we build out our relief strategies.
Moving right along to Section 2, daytime relief and hydration.
When you're upright and active during the day, your absolute #1 priority is hydration. You've got to drink plenty of water or juice to naturally thin out all that gunk. But listen, you need to avoid alcohol and caffeine like the plague here because they actively dehydrate you and make the mucus even thicker. You can also spark some fast drainage with spicy foods. Think hot sauce, horseradish, or wasabi. Oh, and don't forget facial acupressure. Pressing firmly next to your nostrils or just below your cheekbones can actually trigger immediate sweet physical relief.
Now, here is a really cool physical trick to loosen things up. Try alternating a warm compress over your eyes and nose for 3 minutes, and then immediately switch to a cold compress for 30 seconds. It's like a shock to the system that literally forces your nasal passages to open up. But while you're doing all this good stuff, you must completely avoid irritants. That means no temperature extremes, absolutely no smoke, and please stop blowing your nose too hard. You're just inflaming the tissues even more.
Okay, let's jump into Section 3, aromatherapy and essential oils. Now, what's really fascinating here is the actual science behind these scents. It's not just about making your room smell like a fancy spa. Compounds like eucalyptol, which is found in eucalyptus oil, physically help clear your airways of mucus and even act as a natural cough suppressant. Peppermint packs menthol, which naturally cools and opens up the airways. And oregano? It actually brings real, natural antibacterial properties to the table. So how do you actually use these safely? Steam inhalation is your best bet. Just add 3 to 7 drops of your chosen oil to a bowl of recently boiled water. Then, tense a towel over your head, close your eyes, and breathe deeply for a maximum of 2 minutes. But guys, please never ever ingest these oils and never apply them undiluted directly to your skin. They are highly concentrated and can cause some really severe irritation.
Next up is Section 4, mastering the neti pot.
The neti pot is an absolutely incredible physical flush for your sinuses, but I need you to pay very, very close attention here. This comes with a massive, completely non-negotiable safety caveat. You must never, under any circumstances, use unsterilized tap water in a nasal rinse. Doing so exposes you to a potentially fatal brain-eating amoeba. I know, it sounds like crazy science fiction, but there are actual recorded deaths from this. You absolutely must use only distilled water, completely filtered water, or tap water that has been boiled for several minutes and then allowed to cool.
All right, once you've got your totally safe, sterilized water mixed with your saline packet, here's how you actually do the flush. Lean over the sink, turn your head to a 45-degree angle, and gently press the spout into your upper nostril. Keep your mouth open and just breathe through it. Gravity is going to do the work, pulling the saline through your nasal cavity and right out the lower nostril. It physically flushes out all those trapped allergens and that nasty, thick mucus.
Which brings us to Section 5, winning the nighttime battle.
As we talked about earlier, when the sun goes down, gravity just completely stops helping you drain. That is exactly why nighttime congestion feels so suffocating. As you can see right here, sleeping totally flat on your back is the absolute worst thing you can do because the mucus just pools in your nasal passages. Side sleeping is a little bit better since it keeps one airway slightly open, but the absolute best recommendation? Elevate your head 30 to 45 degrees, ideally on a wedge pillow, so gravity keeps working for you all night long.
To actually guarantee a decent night's sleep, you want to combine that elevated sleep position with a rock-solid pre-bedtime routine. Hop in a warm, steamy shower to loosen things up. Run a cool mist humidifier in your bedroom, aim for about 40 to 50% humidity to soothe those inflamed tissues. Do your neti pot saline rinse right before you hit the hay, and then apply that warm facial compress. This whole routine is what's going to stop postnasal drip from completely ruining your rest.
And finally, Section 6, when to see a doctor.
Look, home remedies are absolutely fantastic, but you have to know exactly when it's time to call on the professionals. And the magic number here is 10. 10 days. As we learned from the data earlier, viral infections clear up pretty quickly. But if your symptoms are stubbornly hanging around past this 10-day mark, you've very likely crossed over into a bacterial infection. And that's the point where you actually do need to get some antibiotics.
There are a few major red flags you need to keep an eye out for. If you hit that 10-day mark without any improvement, or if you suddenly spike a fever over 102 degrees, get severe localized facial pain, start seeing thick yellow or green discharge, or, this is a big one, if you get better and then symptoms hit you like a freight train all over again, it is definitely time to call your doctor or an ENT specialist.
You now have the complete survival toolkit to fight back against that awful sinus pressure, both day and night. From hydration hacks to the neti pot and the perfect sleep angle, you are totally in control now. So my question to you is, will you adjust your sleep position tonight, or are you going to let gravity steal your rest? Which of these remedies are you going to deploy first to finally reclaim your ability to breathe?
Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, share and subscribe to motivate us.